Okay, we are connected. Welcome this morning, and we are going to have an amazing call with Tracey Smith. And Tracey, the call is yours. Everything started to recording right now.
Sounds great. Good morning, everyone. Oh, there we go. I am Tracey Smith from San Diego, California. It is, I think, 7:30 in the morning here, and we are excited to be with you today. I love this topic because it's one of my favorite things to do is building business relationships. And so I was really thinking about this week and putting a whole bunch of notes down, thinking, gosh, that's the community is why I'm involved in this business. I remember going to a seminar, gosh, 30, more than 30 years ago, and sitting in the crowd watching these speakers and just being enamored, just thinking, oh my gosh, I just love these people. Everyone was so positive and welcoming, and I just love the environment until Lance elbowed me and he said, I can't wait to do that. And I'm like, do what? I looked at him and he said, speak up there. And I'm like, no way. I'm just here for support. I like all these people. I love the community, the friendships. That's my gig. And sure enough, he pulled me into this, and I do enjoy it. I have to tell you, I love learning. I love being able to teach what I learn. I love sharing my story. I love this part of the business now, but it was not something that I was super excited about. I love being the support team, man. I love being out there and cheering people on. I love the environment. So building business relationships, I wanted to start by telling you it was probably 30 years ago that I reached a level where I was able to host a speaker that was coming into a convention. And I was so excited about this woman is just so well known. She was a famous author. She's just brilliant. She was kind of out of that Lucille Ball type of generation, wonderful woman. Her name is Florence Littauer. And we developed an incredible relationship. She became a very good, close mentor to me. She actually lives in Palm Springs, where Renee lives out there, or at least Renee lives everywhere. She has a house in Las Vegas and Palm Springs. She's often out here in San Diego. But yeah, she's probably she lived about 2 hours away from me. And we had a very nice bond. She would come and do a lot of different speaking engagements for me and with me. I actually even hosted a huge fashion show one time, and she came in as a featured speaker for us, and just had a wonderful relationship. And she was really one of the best Christian women that was a mentor about building relationships for me. And so I thought, why not talk a little bit about her today? One of her famous books, of course, is Personality Plus. I don't know if a lot of you have read it. It's a great book. Um, I love it. It was so phenomenal. And all of her books have been. I think she's written probably 50 books. Isn't that crazy? Um, but anyway, she wrote a book called Silver Boxes, and it really is a very good relationship building book. And I love it. And I wrote a couple notes from it. She quotes Ephesians 4:29. Let everything you say be good and helpful, so that your words will be an encouragement to those who hear them. So your words really should be, when you're out there talking with people, she believes that your words can actually be a silver box with a big bow on top, and that could be a lasting impression. And that's how you should be able to express and praise and lift people up. That's what we do. That's what our market is. And I love that because I watch Frida a lot. Hi, Frida. I can see you right here. I watch Frida a lot when she's out in the community and she's meeting new friends. Doesn't she say that all the time? And I believe that she gives them silver boxes all the time. People want to be near her because they feel better when they're near her. And so that's something that I really think that we need to do a lot more. There's so many people that are so down on people, right? We need to be the people that lift people up, make them feel better, and make them feel welcome to our community. And so I love this book. I think it was so important. Network marketing thrives on building strong business relationships. Here's a concise guide to do these things effectively. So I made some points here today. Authenticity first. It's so important to be authentic. People can see through fakeness. They can feel like if you want to get them, we're not going out there to get people. We're out there offering them an incredible opportunity, not just money, not just products, but really a community of people that believe in each other, love each other, celebrate each other, all of these things. So be authentic. Lance and I always have whenever we're meeting people, we always have the conversation starter of, tell me a little bit about yourself. And I love that because they'll go off and they'll say, well, I'm a hairdresser. I just heard the question. I'm a hairdresser. And you're like, yeah, and I have kids and I have family. Well, what do you do for fun? And it's always a pause, out there today. And they're like, what do I do for fun? And sometimes it takes them, like a few minutes to come up with something. Well, I walk, or, oh, I hike, or, oh, I fish, or, oh, I used to, and it's funny because you're like, gosh, it sets them back a little bit, thinking, what do I do for fun? And who are my friends, and what is my purpose? And I believe that we have the best offer in the whole marketplace, in the whole world, because we have a group that supports and loves each other, and we're authentic with them. We'll say, gosh, we would love to do those kind of things with you and get to know you before we're just jumping in and trying to get them. We don't want to go out there and get people. As they express what they're saying, we always say, oh, we use feel, felt, found all of the time. They'll say something like, oh, I love dogs. And we'll go, oh, we feel the same way. We have 2 labs. But they're great. They're for family. And we're trying to make connections of where we can fit and where our likeness is, and how we have kids, oh, that's awesome. We have grandkids, we have kids and grandkids. And then we'll go in and we'll try and relate and connect that way. It's really important. When we meet people and we're out and about, I'll take my phone and I'll say, give me your contact information. Are you on social media? Let's connect. And then when I leave, I'll take my phone and I'll enter their information in my phone, but then I scroll down into the note section on the contact, and I'll actually write, information about them so that I can refresh myself. We know a lot of people because of this business, and sometimes you forget. I remember hosting someone that came in for a presentation at the house, and we had a group. And the next week I was with that group again, and I'm like, it's nice to meet you, to this couple. And they're like, we just met you last week. And I'm like, oh, I'm so embarrassed, right? And so I've learned to say things like, it's nice to see you, instead of it's nice to meet you. You get these little phrases. But anyway, going back to the contact on the phone, I'll go down into the notes and I'll type in things like, I had a new contact last week, a guy that, is from Malaysia, and we got on a Zoom, and he told me that he's married, that he has a kid, and that in his profession, and how he's been in the industry for quite a few years. And so in those notes, I put all of that. He's married, he has a boy, a son. He's been in the industry, blah, blah, blah. So I'll put that in the notes so that when I get on the next Zoom, I'll go down into my contacts and I'll remind myself what that is. Today, we're meeting with someone for lunch that she's exploring the business. She wanted just collagen. She's coming here in town from Idaho. Anyway, she had a tragedy in her family, and she was actually in our organization a long time ago, actually 15 years ago. And there was a tragedy. She lost her son in an ATV accident. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And so I had to go back, thank goodness for social media, because I could go back and kind of refresh myself. But again, I went back into my notes and I looked, and I'm like, okay, her husband's a plumber. Okay. They love the rodeo. So I had all of those notes on my phone, and I could refresh myself again about her. So when I meet her, it's not like it's cold again because it's been 15 years, you know what I'm saying? So be authentic and know, you know, information about them so that they know that you are actually interested in them. Pay attention. That's a big deal. Sometimes you see people that are with people maybe eating lunch or on a Zoom, and they're just kind of busy and they're all over the place, or they're looking at their phone. That's one thing that we do, is we put our phones away when we're with our group. We, you know, unless we're, you know, connecting or doing something, we want to make sure that we're paying attention. How rude is it when you're, you know, even at a family dinner and you're talking with someone and they're just on their phone all the time? You're like, why am I here, right? So pay attention, smile, nod, show interest in people. That's who we are. That's how we connect, and that's how people feel valued. You know, I think one of the persons that's so good at this is Nilbert. You know, it's funny because he is just so caring. He's alert. He wants to make sure everybody's comfortable. I was just with a meeting with him on Monday, and as soon as, you know, I'm looking around for the room, and as soon as I saw him, he's like, there you are. And I'm like, he's not really looking for me, is he? But it was just so, I mean, it was just so nice. You know, it just felt like, oh, okay, someone's waiting for me. And that's how we should make people feel. Provide value, offer help offer help without expecting something in return. It's really important to be there. You know, I talked about the lunch that we're going to have today. This gal contacted me because I was posting things on social media, you know, about collagen. I was doing the before afters. I love to post stuff like that. And she contacted me and she said, I talked to a nurse, and the nurse said that I need to use your collagen. And I didn't even know who this nurse was, right? And I'm like, well, that's cool. And I'm like, great. And she goes, and I said, I can send you some information. And she goes, well, that's fine, but I am not interested in the business side. But this is a gal that I met was interested in the business 15 years ago. I'm like, no problem. You don't have to, whatever. But you should register because I have enough customers. You should just buy it wholesale. It's fine with me, right? And for $30, you know, she talked about how she bought collagen at Costco before. And I'm like, yeah, it didn't work. So anyway, I'm like, no problem. And she goes, okay, fine. Yeah, register me. That's great. And I'm like, sure. So I went ahead and I registered her. We're going to meet today, but she only wanted to talk about collagen until I sent her the information, and she started reading about it. She goes, well, wait a minute. Maybe maybe we should talk about the business side of it. And I'm like, no problem, because we provide value. You know, we have, our website is absolutely incredible, our app, and to be able to send that information and to really get to know, and to, you know, today I'm going to listen to her, and I know they're coming down for some into San Diego for some kind of a therapy. I don't know what that's about, but I'm sure that probably our products will probably help in that therapy too. You know, vitality, any of that kind of stuff. I don't know, but I have a feeling we're going to be able to fit our more products and our business side into that. So give them value. Dr. Dan, that's the number one example that I could think about, is someone who just wants to give so much value. If you follow him on Instagram, I hope most of you do, or all of you do, because it's super important. He's talking about, what did he talk about yesterday? He talked about, if you want this, do this. Does this work? Yes. He has a yes, no kind of thing that goes really fast yesterday on his Instagram. And he's not talking just about our products. He's actually giving value to the world, saying, you know, hey, this could help you with this. This could help you with that. But he'll sneak in every so often something that is with 3 that can really bring people towards, like, you can't get this anywhere else except through 3. And so he gives so much value without expecting anything else. And that's what we should be able to do too. So when you're out there, I heard the gal before we started today say, I'm going to the hair salon. You know, that's awesome. If you have more of a mindset of what could I do to get them on the product, if you just get there and just say, hey, you know, I'm just super excited about what I'm doing. You know, I'm involved in this organization and this company that has so much value. I mean, our products actually hit the cellular level, and I'm not here to, like, offer you anything. I always say that I'm not here to offer you anything. This is an amazing process. I'm just so fortunate to be connected with these people and to know that I'm in a cutting edge company. And so you're out there saying, I have something that's super, super valuable that I would love to share with you. And if it's for you, great. If not, great. But man, it's amazing. It's lightning in a bottle, right? Consistent communication, super, super important. When you're out there, be respectful, of communicating. You don't want to just call someone every single day and hammer them. You don't want to do that. But you don't want to let them, you always want to be on their mind, right? And so I hope that you use social media, that, people scroll all the time. And on story, if you post on your story, it doesn't have that algorithm that holds you or suppresses you down. A lot of people see story. And so just one story a day, that it keeps you on their mind, at the top of their mind. And it's important you're reminding them. And it doesn't always have to be 3. It could be lifestyle. It could be, it could be a picture of a hike. I see Adrienne, she posts that she's running and I'm like, oh, there's Adrienne. Oh, there's Adrienne, and it's just always on your mind. She's right there. Oh, and when you think of Adrienne, you think of the company, or you think of the product, or you think of the community. And so it's really, really important. But you don't have to just, call them every single time. There's a lot of things that you can do. Book a meeting from a meeting is really, really important to always know that you're going to be able to talk with them and they know the time that you're going to get back to them. So book a meeting from a meeting. Building depth through them is super important, and being able to have constant communication. Things happen, life happens, right? People go through things where they may have to step back from the business sometimes. But if you build depth, and you're building depth, and you're keeping that communication going through your organization, they will come back and they'll see the growth and the communication and what's happening in the organization. So it's not like when people come back after that, they have to step away. When they come back, they know that they're welcome and everything's going fine. And so it's super important to have that communication. Always follow through. It's so important. If you say you're going to call someone, call them. It's so important. People think, gosh, if you don't, they think I wasn't of value to you. And then they kind of slip away because that's how they feel. I think Tracey Economy is probably one of the best communicators ever. And it's just a simple text, that she'll send, like, hey, thumbs up, or, how's your day, or hope you're doing great. And so just those little things that that doesn't make them step away, but lets them know that you care, that you're their friend, and that you're always there for them. Leverage events, attend industry meetups, so important. Of course, we have Salt Lake City, but anytime that you have something that you can attend, you really should. And a lot of people say, well, maybe I don't have anybody, in that location, and you're there and you're able to attend. You have you. And every time that you see a presentation or you're around the community, you re-sponsor yourself. It's so important. And when you're there and you're meeting with people in the community, always introduce. I walked up on Monday, and I knew a lot of the people that were there at the meeting. We had an opportunity presentation in San Diego on Monday. And I walked up and I'm like, hi, I'm Tracey Smith. I live up in the North County. And it's funny because they're like, we know who you are. And I'm like, well, I don't want to assume, right? And I've learned that because when I first got in this industry, Susan Walker, she's filled coliseums of people, same as Karen in Colombo. We've had our own, big, huge meetings. And how did that start? It started from being welcoming and talking to people. And I remember her, she was such a great example, Susan Walker. Every time I would go to a convention, she would go, I'm not kidding, to everybody in the huge conventions. And she'd have this big smile on her face. She had her hand out and she'd say, hi, I'm Susan Walker from Houston, Texas. And she would say it to everybody at every convention, and everybody knew who she was. And it's so important. And so, I'm very shy, honestly. I am. I'm still working through it after all this time in this industry. I don't feel shy around you guys, but going up to strangers is still strange to me. But anyway, but doing that and knowing that I can go up and I can say, hi, my name's Tracey Smith. I'm from San Diego, California. I live, in the North County. Tell me a little bit about yourself. And that's very easy because then I just switch it over to them and they can tell me, and I can be able to listen enough to where I can fit, a relationship in, or a community, or a product, or I can fit into that when they're telling me about them. And so I really strongly suggest that you open yourself up and you introduce yourself quite a bit. Nurture the long-term relationships. Aren't one and one. It's not a one and done business. Our business is not a one-night stand. Lance always says that. And I kind of laugh about that, but it's true. You have to go out there and you have to nurture these relationships. You have to care about people. It's funny because we have, in our lives, we have our families, right? We have our friends, and we have our business, which is business sometimes is family and friends too. But it's really important to be able to know what you're doing, especially right now while you're really running and building your business. I have a lot of girlfriends that I just love to be around. And it's funny because I was going and I was booking I told Lance, we have to, book a dinner with Sonia. And he's like, with Sonia? And I go, yeah. I go, because, we've got to get her involved and get her going in the business. And he's like, Tracey, he said, Sonia's not going to build the business. Now, that's fine if you want to have dinner with Sonia, but let's not call it business. And I'm like, what? And it was so funny to me because he's like, it's fine, we can have dinner, but let's not confuse it. She's not going to build the business. She's told you that. She's been around you for 8 years. She's not going to build the business. But if you want to have dinner, let's call it a dinner, not a business dinner. And I'm like, oh, okay. And that point was well made. If we set this goal and we have a time limit and we want to go and we want to work and we want to do things, big, then we're going to have to kind of set some things on the side or call them what they are. And so I don't know if that resonates with you, but it did with me this week. And so important, nurturing the relationships too. You got to know who your leaders are, right? We have some people in our business that aren't very nurturing. They want to, wham bam, thank you, ma'am. They want to show the plan, sign you up, get your founder's pack, and move on. Who else do you know? And that's fine. And I'm grateful for these leaders. They're wonderful, but you have to know, what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are. And so you have to compromise, or you have to not compromise, but you have to complete whatever. You have to be there for those weak spots. And so I'll come in, when they're going off, which I'm so grateful because they're going off and building depth and getting the next person. I'll come in there and say, so how are you? How is your family? Hey, let's get you registered for Salt Lake City. Where are you going to stay? We'll stay at this hotel. Let's all get together, and you make sure everybody's happy and everybody's working well together. And so just know your players. Use the social platforms. It's so important. Comment thoughtfully on people's posts, or when they comment. Well, like if you post on social media and someone comments, you really should comment back. I remember being at a GoPro, and the number one thing they said was that whatever they do, you reciprocate. And so maybe they just put emoji and then you put emoji back, but you talk their language on everything that they do, and you keep that communication with a question as many times as you can in the comments, that you keep that going, because that actually tells them that you care and that you care about them and that their opinion and what they say matters. And so I hope that it's just a couple tips and tricks. Yesterday I put in, and it's true, I actually booked today's lunch I thought it was yesterday. And so we got all ready. We got halfway to the lunch spot, all the way downtown. And I got a text and she goes, "You mean tomorrow, right? This lunch is tomorrow." I'm like, "Oh my gosh." And I looked at Lance, I'm like, "I'm so sorry, so sorry." And so I got a second, I get a second lunch today. Lance took me out to lunch anyway. But it's funny because in the comments underneath there, I posted something and then people were putting comments and then I was commenting on their comments like, "It's great to hear from you. How is life? Tell me about it." And then I got a whole bunch of private messages coming back and we're starting to, being able to communicate and trying to pull some of these people back into the business. So social platforms are really, really great for that. I'm going to close with this. Direct Selling Association in 2023 stated that studies show 80% of network marketing success comes from relationship building over product selling. It's so important, you guys. And if you're not great at relationship building, and if you're not, nurturing and you're not doing those kind of things for your organization, there's a whole bunch of books, things like Silver Boxes, that you can read and you can get good at. And the one thing I don't care for in our business is they say, work off your strengths and ignore your weaknesses. I don't believe that. I think our business is full circle. I think we need to always work on our strengths and our weaknesses to become the best leaders that we possibly can for the people. And so I don't know if you got anything out of this today, but I did, because just refreshing myself made me more committed to do better. And so I hope that message came through for you. And I'll just go ahead and I'm going to switch it back over to George. And thank you for being with us this morning. And if you have any questions, fire away. There you go, George. Oh, I think George is frozen. Anyway, everybody okay?
Great job, Tracey.
Great. Thank you.
Yes, it was great, Tracey, and you're absolutely right. Relationships are everything. That's where everything starts, because it builds trust, and like you say, it's not just like, what's in it for me? You want to build that. It's everybody wears an invisible sign, make me feel important.
Oh, I love that, Christine. Thank you so much.
Yeah, this is George. I had to get through the different because my my computer is frozen.
It's okay. It's all good. It was very good, Tracey.
Yeah, but it was very good. I could hear you, but I couldn't talk because I got totally frozen. But yeah, very, very important, the conversation that you have today, the presentation about the relationships, etc. I think, by the way, I was kicked out of the other side too. I don't see myself. But it's okay. Oh, it's saying installing the updates. But anyway, everything is recorded. Anybody has any comments before we go?
I just want to say thank you, Tracey. And a lot of that I lived and saw Tracey do exactly what she was teaching today. And from that, there are lots and lots of relationships that she has created. And I learned a lot from her as well. So I thought it was great. Thank you, Tracey.
Thank you.
It was amazing. And by the way, and I said this before, Tracey is talking about her experience, and everything is common sense. It's just, I always say, common sense is not common anymore. What happened?
People just need to be reminded, and they need to be loved. They really do. I just see a lot of lonely people out there, especially after COVID. They just got out of the niche of it, and they just need to be reminded that, our communities are good. They watch the news too much, and they're fearful and they're afraid of people. And that's just not how we live. That's not how we were made to live.
I agree 100%. And as a matter of fact, and there was a study that was done like 15 years ago, and that was 15 years ago. Today, I think it's even more powerful, that showed that higher levels of depression happen in people that watch the news consistently. And many people don't realize that, but the news, doesn't matter what channel you are, they're no good news. They're always talking about something bad that's happening and how people are manipulating you. And nothing is your fault. You don't have control on anything, or nothing is success. And subconsciously, that affects us really bad. And that's why I agree that the news is not the best way to. Some people say, well, I have to be updated. Hey, if something big happened, you're going to know anyway. You're going to find out.
That's so true. Your mom will always call you. I'm just joking. But
that's right.
I actually subscribe to a newsletter. It's called Nice News. And they always talk about something just absolutely amazing. Or I read the guidepost, you know. I love those kind of articles because they talk about what people are doing so well in the world. And it's such a nice message. So I encourage you all to do these kind of things. It's great. Anyway,
Yes.
It's great to be with you this morning.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Tracey.
Let's see you tomorrow. And by the way, tomorrow I'm going to go into the desktop part of the app, because I know JJ touched that part, but he didn't go in details. And we are going to talk about the app again, because we have to use that app, guys. It's so powerful. Anyway, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Tracey. Like always, amazing presentation. And I talk to you later. Have an amazing day, everybody.